Not Chuck. All right, hold on.
Chuck is not a show person now.
Hey there, Beverly Hills 90210 fans.
You know how when they yell cut, they wouldn't stop.
That's interesting.
What?
Yeah.
If you were Donna, what would you have said?
I said,
A waitress rather call the police, and she was mistaking 90210 for cops.
Along with your host, Charles Rosen.
But look at that Dean cake, and Dan probably got the best performance he ever gave.
We're having a meeting here?
Oh, at least there's one person on this Fakata set that knows what they're doing.
Larry
I had a
Mullen.
friend named Craig Richland. There was still cocaine around and stuff. I always remembered him. I just kind of thought I would honor my coke dealer.
Get out of here!
Pete Ferrero.
Here's where I learned it. It's possible Claire would have gone out with me.
that was your takeaway.
So sit back and relax because it's like totally time for the Beverly Hills 90210 show.
Just hold on to me tonight.
Okay, you made it. Chuck.
There he is.
We are here live on the Beverly Hills 90210 show. I heard you had an interesting day today, Chuck. You and Larry got together.
It was only half. That was only half of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. What happened is that it was so interesting that after I dropped you off, Larry, I pulled on the G Street, pulled over, and slept for about 2 hours.
I told the guy that did get. I
woke up. It was 20 to 5.
Stop.
And I think I walked on with seconds, but I didn't want to start with this, but yeah, it was more than you can almost express. And I always think it's a little bullshitty when people say, "Oh, I'm processing this." I'm processing this. This was, but I do feel it was, in terms of the. It's kind of a terrible way to look at it, but the production value of putting the story. These people were storytellers.
We should tell people because they don't know what you're talking about. We should tell them we went to an immersive exhibit about the Nova Festival, which took the brunt of the Hamas attack October 7th. And anyway, Chuck, you pick it up.
And it's a music festival, and it kind of got in the way of this brutal terrorist attack, and makes it even that more brutal because these were. And Bryan, you can't even process it because these were some of the most beautiful people. This was the dance trance people. These were the people who wanted to party all night, and peace. And there's the bakva, and all of the stuff, and really dance of peace and fun, and
neo hippies,
and had to then in a moment's notice, with the rocket's red glare, turning off the music and running for their lives. And and many didn't make it. So it's and the way they set it up and how you went through the conversation on your own pace, immersive, as Larry says, good word. It's leaving LA. I'm glad we caught it, but look, I slept for 2 hours. I haven't done that in basically 4 months. Okay, so this is something.
Anyway,
okay, a few things else we have to get to. First of all, Larry, you are leaving LA.
Oh yes, I am leaving LA at the end of the month, but I will be back. But yes, we will no longer be LA Californians. We'll be Ohioans.
Interesting. I'm so fascinated by this aspect of your life that
Luckily
you live on the beach, this beautiful view of the beach. And now what is it? Riverfront Stadium?
No, I'm going from oceanfront to creekfront.
Okay.
You're gonna lose that status.
The property is called Sugar Creek. It's gonna be very nice once we do it.
Very sweet.
The next thing, and we're gonna have these girls come on at some point, but they sent us a video. Chuck, I don't even understand how to describe what happened, but 3 friends. I don't know if they became friends through the podcast or if they had been friends, and our podcast reinvigorated them to be back into 90210 full throttle. And they went and saw a whole bunch of the sites and they recreated stuff. They sent us a video. I'm going to play what they sent us.
Hi, Pete, Chuck, and Larry. We're on our 90210 trip. We've had the best time. We just went in the beach house. Thank you for your podcast. Thank you for all the work you put into a show that means so much to us and has threaded us all together for 34 years. And keep up the good work. And maybe somehow you can find a way to make this thing into a movie. We love you. Bye.
I thought that was really
That's
nice.
wonderful. I like that.
That's Heather Melton, and I'm.
Look, we knew we have built a community. That's one of the things we felt happening for the last bunch of years with this, which is gave people the same interest, a place to kind of put their energy.
I feel like at the end of this, I'm going to start giving tours of the Walsh House. This is where Dylan used to. This was Dylan's. This was the Peach Pit. It's now this. Chuck, will you join me on this since you'll still?
I don't know about that, Pete, but I'll tell you that. Yeah, maybe we can go somewhere after for dinner or something. But
yeah,
you're on the main street.
Yes.
Of West Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
This is it. When the kids of West Beverly High had to live in West Beverly Hills, right? I mean, there would be the distinction. And you got that.
Okay, a few other things. The Mets are on in the background. If somehow
how are we doing? 4-1, right?
4-1, Lindor hit a grand slam. If they win, I may break into a celebration during this podcast because this is
for the Mets.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that happened that Nicholas Pryor passed away, who was Chancellor Arnold. By the way, we are going to look at dailies. We've got some good dailies for everybody who's just getting to us. Anyway, for you guys casted Nicholas Pryor, right? You knew this actor. He has been in so many great things prior to 90210. I remember him in Airplane.
Airplane, of course. Sorry. And Risky Business.
Risky Business.
That's when I
Less Than Zero.
And this was one of the ones that Diane Young walks in and says, "This is who you got here." And I said, "What do you mean? It's the dad from Risky Business?" Yeah, fine. Yeah,
absolutely.
And to be exactly what I wanted. I think he had to read. I think in the spelling company you did.
I think so. I don't remember him in Paul's room though.
But he was the husband of
Christine Belton.
Yeah.
Christine Belton.
So I think that was also the reason that he would think it would be a hoot to do the show.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, but at the same time, there was a steady part there, and the show by that point, when he becomes the chancellor, is a good place to be for especially an older actor. So
when we had the part, we had no idea it was going to expand the way it did. But Nicholas's charm and his skill as an actor, and just his joy of performing, just made it easy to write for him and create plots. I mean, we didn't have that plot that one that Chuck loves about there's a war crimes criminal comes to speak, an old friend of his and stuff. I mean, that never would have happened if we didn't have faith in Nick.
Well, that's season 5 stuff. I got it. But season 4, you did have Mr. Walsh goes to Washington.
Right.
He's there. It's from the start. We get to college, and he's the chancellor's lackey.
And I was going to say Brandon was the chancellor's lackey. That was a whole name because in Brandon's political aspirations, that was
exactly
because they
and Nick was just great to play off it, and I loved it when he really got kind of prideful and competitive, having to do with Claire. I mean, that was
right. Then we brought Claire in, and then that really mixed it up. And then later on, Chuck, we actually have him dating Samantha Sanders. He has a relationship.
Oh, really? Well, that
really affects Steve and Claire's relationship when they kind of break up.
Speaking of Claire, I reached out to Kathleen earlier, and she recorded a Zoom with me to talk about him. I'm going to play that. It's about 6 minutes. We can watch the Met game in the background or whatever it is you want to do. And then she also looked for those. She also looked at one of the dailies as well for later on as well while I had her. So Here is Kathleen. I am being joined. Hi. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You look amazing. I always have to start on that. I can't let that slide.
I'll take it. And I'll try not to notice the pictures in your background.
Dude, these are some of my favorite pictures of you.
They're
I have to
good.
be honest with you about something.
Yes.
The top one in the center,
Oh yeah.
I love that one, but I would like to replace it.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
I just I just wanted your approval on
Okay
that.
with that. Yeah.
All right, look, this the reason that we're here though is it's serious. Someone from Beverly Hills 90210 passed away.
Yes.
And it's basically the actor or character in which where we first see Claire Arnold passed away.
Mhm.
And I thought of anybody that should talk about working with him, it's you because you did so much great stuff with him. Do you
Yeah.
have any thoughts about him?
Yeah. No, he the very first scene I shot was with him, and he was very I you probably will know this answer. Was that his first episode as well?
No, Chancellor Arnold had been with us before.
He had.
I'm pretty sure with Jason. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Mhm.
So
I mean, my answers with you I always want to agree and say yes, but I had to I had to
yeah,
be the
I'm not sure.
the
I'm not
historian
sure.
of it all.
Anyway, it's irrelevant. But
Okay,
my point
you
was
know
just
more. Go
that
ahead.
I was brand new on the show. You know, I didn't know anybody. I was brand new. It was my first episode, and he was just incredibly kind, loving, funny, very funny. Very. My memory of him is his humor. Really, he was so smart and so funny, and I think it was a really. I think it was a really, in retrospect, now that I am older, I think it was probably a really difficult job for the older people.
Sure.
You know, I think that it was a show about young people, young, beautiful people. And I think that the older people kind of got, um, you know, not as much focus and not as much care. And I think that he got that and was kind of okay with it and was such a pro and was just kind of an actor who had done so much work. I mean, I just remember sitting with him and grilling him and asking him a million questions about, you know, Less Than Zero and Risky Business and like just all the incredible films he'd been a part of and the filmmakers that he'd worked with and he was just, you know, it's like there's he just was kind of one of those actors of that generation that just loved being an actor, you know, like was grateful anytime he could be on set and be in wardrobe saying other people's words. He was in his happy place, you know. So he
Yeah,
was
and I think that the two of you had such a great chemistry because he was able, he was playing like the older dad that was sort of like loose in a way, even though
yeah.
you know what I mean? He wasn't like this strict dad. He was sort of loose, but also strict at the same time, which only really comes out of a certain period of a way an actor might play that character. Does that make
Right.
sense what I just said?
I think so. Like that he was sort of almost commenting on it in a way. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
that is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like I think he got the joke for sure.
Yeah.
He always got the joke, you know, and he understood his place on the show and the, you know, the insanity of what it was to be on that show at that particular moment in time. I think he was very much kind of almost like an outsider looking in, and I could sort of see him sitting laughing when things would go down and when shit would go crazy or people would have issues or things would get, you know, he would just kind of laugh and be like, just
anything that he said to you or advice or anything like that that you took from.
yeah. I mean, again, I was very, very green in terms of it was my first big American job. I remember he got a real kick out of me being Canadian. We talked a lot about Canada. I remember he and I are just like we definitely bonded, and I think I weirdly felt more comfortable around him than I did around some of the cast, just because I was always kind of that person that I liked older people, and I was always comfortable talking to older people and kind of curious about their trajectories and their lives. So I just remember him and I kind of having a really close bond and connection, and yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to say Nicholas had prepared a statement for the Hollywood Reporter, which said, "I'm eternally grateful for being having been a working actor for 70 years."
That was for
70 years. Whoa.
That was 70 years. 70 years.
Wow, and he did appear on our Super Show.
Yeah.
Yes,
Shari Weiss was amazing and went to him and interviewed him, and somewhere Shari posted that full long interview with him. And Shari, if you're going
to, there were two things I just want to say, Pete, after seeing that, which was just great, really. But it was I do think that maybe the first you heard about the Chancellor, and we had set that up, but you did not see the Chancellor. My guess is you didn't see the Chancellor until he said, "Would you take my daughter to the prom?" And if it wasn't that, it was.
I think we saw before. I think we saw before.
Bryan.
Because they went on that retreat to
Dr. Weiss.
Kelly.
Right, there you go.
He was there.
Bryan, hot tag. What do you know? What happened?
Well, I think like Chuck was saying, we have that retreat episode where Brandon goes with Kelly, and I think we see Chancellor Arnold there, and that's before Claire is introduced.
Yeah, Claire comes after the fact.
Yeah,
but I was correct. Was I correct, or was Kathleen?
You're correct, Pete. You're
okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. By one episode, I did. It is the same.
Okay.
But the other thing is that
it's around the same time.
One of the things about him, not that he is, it's not that he's like looser as in that way, but what he is that he is a product of being intellectual. Yeah. And so the intellectual pride of having a daughter who we warrant can speak other languages, 2 or 3 languages, and which can happen, certainly with the training even 30 years ago, but nonetheless, it was just a fun, kind of relationship. But I think it was intellectual was the connection,
Yeah. Rhodey, do you have a thought?
No, he was delightful, and really everything good and noble about the profession he amplified, he embodied. I mean, it was just a pleasure to see pros like that. And we wish Christine Belford and the family, our condolences, and
very much so.
And he will always live on. He's, he'll find his light. Just
a heads up too. Diaz has walked the first 2 batters in the night. Yeah. Okay. Just so
he's
that
walked the first 2 and then no outs.
And in the top of the 9th, and I normally would scream and curse right now, but so I'm focused here.
I think we should, Chuck. We did one thing which you probably don't know about, but we had a dinner like in season 6 or 7, like an awards dinner for journalism, and Chancellor Arnold meets Elle, the transvestite, and doesn't know that she's a man playing a woman, and kind of has and they flirt together. So we had a little bit of fun with that, which Steve had to reveal to Claire that he knew Elle.
That's a very good premise. Good.
And
very
of course,
good.
he was so funny. He was so funny because he was
bet.
splitting with her, and she just kind of really wailed it.
Everyone was excited about the dailies. So I feel like this is a good place to start. Now, before I get into this, for anybody who's watching, there is a likelihood that YouTube will pause this. The episode will inevitably air everywhere. Don't freak out. Don't panic. We're just going to keep doing it like as if nothing is happening. Because there's multiple things that are happening in this first clip.
Action.
I don't wanna see you ever sad, and everything I got talk too much. You need some human touch to see it's really not so bad.
Here.
Sorry, man. No harm done.
So when I was watching this, I thought Jamie Walters was playing. And then, of course, I realized that was a click track. And that they must have run it that's how Jamie Walters played. He didn't always play. They ran a click track, right?
Yep, makes sense.
How else you gonna do it, Petey?
Well, I thought he was singing live. I was like,
can do
wow,
live
he sounds so good. And then I heard click.
I don't even think we did that in the Pete's Pit After Dark, did we, Larry? Maybe. Some bands must have played live there, but
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Sometimes he'd be live. I mean,
the
first time we see him when he's in the pickup truck where Donna kind of
that might be live.
He's playing live.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
All right, now this gets interesting.
I don't wanna see you ever sad, and everything that I got you can have. When it's all too much, you need some human touch to see it's really not so bad.
Hey, man, what are you doing? Get out of here.
Sorry, man. No harm done. Show's over.
This is so cool.
Working.
Okay,
Working.
Larry, look at that.
Working.
Staying into character right up until the end.
That's great. And I love, Larry, I love how you just stood there like a statue. Like, I'm on stage now, and I'm just waiting for my cue.
Well, I
And
forgot.
there it
I
is,
didn't even
my
know the
cue,
camera
right.
was on me at that point. Probably, you know.
We have two out there.
I got to hang out in the makeup trailer and Nick.
Well, okay, but you told me something that I don't think that you've shared with this on the podcast, that this was not this. There was a little drama with SAG to do this.
Oh no, that's after the fact. Yeah, after the fact, I'm sure Chuck got a letter from SAG saying one of your producers is
That's my
acting
thing
in the
for
show.
SAG.
They're taking away his residuals, and yeah, and when he's not
We
allowed
tried to do
get
that to my kid. Everybody who was related to me, and we were getting in a big fight. Mr. Spelling picked up that tab. I was.
What is the tab of that? What is that? What is that? $500?
I can't remember. It was the indignity of it, really, quite frankly. But,
I was a SAG member at that time too. I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't a SAG member.
So the issue that they had was that you were taking some working actors.
I know. I wasn't big enough to take another actor's job. In other words, other people they didn't bust Chuck.
No.
Hey, I think there are people
Mr. Spelling.
cheering. Come alive! They're dancing in the street, Pete.
Did it happen already? I'm a second
Schwarber
behind.
is going to strike out, and the people are going to go nuts.
Hold on.
Friend. Here you go.
Hold on. I'm sorry, podcasting.
Schwarber
struck him out. Wow. Yeah.
The Mets beat the Phillies.
That's
The
pretty
Mets beat
amazing.
the Phillies.
New York is going to go crazy. It's so great.
Holy. Well, look. Wow.
Lindor, man. Stud. Major.
Amazing stuff. All right. So now we have to worry about who we're going to play, because the both of you guys are the Dodgers or the Padres are scary.
Yeah.
Larry, do you know that there's a second take?
No.
Of Larry or
of Larry?
I only kept this for vanity purposes. But I never looked at it.
Shocked the shit out of me. And obviously, they did. Whoever was editing made the right choice.
David Simmel. We might have edited ourselves.
Hey, man, what are you doing? Get out of here.
Sorry, man. No harm done. Show's over.
This is so cool.
Yeah, too soft. Good choice.
Yeah, you got to raise the stakes, Larry. Got to raise the stakes.
But that was the he raised the stakes in the first take. That was a one take for you.
Yeah, I didn't want to take up time. I had to get back to work.
What was your experience like with Jamie and Tori?
Oh God, you really did. I remember what was going on our show. Yes, you did have to get back to work.
Yeah, we were that was when we were shooting 2 shows at a time.
We were shooting
middle of
2
double
shows
ups.
at once.
Middle of double ups. I had to go all the way out in Pasadena. No, they were lovely. They were very accommodating. You know, I like I said, I was trained not to talk to the actors, so I never really.
You didn't interact. No. How was David Semmel?
I was polite and stuff, but no, I didn't.
Well, Semmel was our friend. Semmel was. This is a real triumph of production, and it could not have been done by anybody else in our staple but David.
Yeah, he didn't know any better. He didn't know any better. He was so new to it. He didn't know what he couldn't do.
And when we stumbled on the production company Graying and Balding that had just shot Rolling Stones stuff, so we got extra Rolling Stones footage, but we also got something much more important, was the approval of Mick Jagger to go through with this. His commitment to the broadcasting company.
As you see, we tie in Brandon.
So didn't you have to go check, like, go to someone's house or office for the tapes or something? Am I misremembering that, or wasn't there?
No, I always dealt with his. Yeah. Well, I think with the origin story is that I had to always after Spring Dance and the year after that, the first 2 years, which was most contentious, having to do with storylines and storylines that affected advertising, according to Fox's business side. They lightened up, but and especially by going into the 5th year, it was just pro forma. But I'm in the office of David Grant, who is the vice president of business for Fox, because the censors reported to him ever since the situation with Spring Dance and the fact they weren't independent anymore. In other words, we talked about that. And he and I happened to be sitting across from him when the call came through that they were supporting the Voodoo Lounge tour. Remember, Larry, the Fox was on it?
Wow, that was a great day.
And I said, we need it. Yeah, we got it. And of course, our cast mercifully teased
more
us.
LA experience than going to the Rose Bowl for a show, you know. Of course,
yeah, it was pretty. It was
the
pretty
big
cool.
resistance was the cast didn't really like the Rolling Stones. That's why we have this. That's why I wrote the whole series where, you know, Kathleen has the attitude and David has the attitude about the Rolling Stones.
Even Jason, when we finished filming the bit, he and the crew immediately leave, and it's just me and Christine Elise sitting there going, he's 15 yards away from us. Why are they walking away? And finally, Jay comes back about 10 minutes later and pulls Christine away, and I had it to myself for about 10 minutes. Wow.
Well, he said to us, I remember, Chuck, when we told Jason the storyline, he went, "You boomers, you know, you really caught up in your music." Because they weren't cool then. This was a kind of a slump time for the Stones.
A little bit, yeah, probably.
One day I'll share.
Otherwise, why would they become getting in a relationship with Fox? You know,
I was going to think the same thing. Exactly.
Chuck, do you know that Tori told me that her and Jamie and some of the cast were all smoking pot at this concert?
Great.
And that they
did not share it.
There wasn't. Look at guys, with the exception of you know, Ray and Donna. In this whole part, there wasn't that much acting going on. All right, Jenny's up there. That is,
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. You know, Bryan and Claire get in.
What was that?
You know,
Larry?
I remember I was standing there. Actually, of all the shots of the cast members, I was standing for the shot of Bryan and Claire. That was like in the center on the floor.
Yeah,
and we got him right there. Yeah. That was
all right. So one of my favorite shots in all of 90210 history is in this episode when Donna and Ray are running through the tunnel to go see the show, and I found 4 takes of the running, and I was curious to see if you guys could figure out which one actually made it in the episode.
Okay. Probably not. Yeah. I remember this. I was watching this.
This kind of always reminded me of like that Beatlemania movie, I guess. I think there was
that was the shot.
Yeah.
And this was really happening. I mean, you see this.
Yeah, this is really at the show.
Yeah.
This was live time. Dave had really planned it out with these guys, where to be and what to be doing.
It
And
might have been a
this
focus
had to
problem.
be the first shot.
That's take one. That's take
Take
one.
one. Take two, please. I mean, we're out of focus.
Okay. This should be take two. Lot of extras here.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is yeah.
I mean,
are these paid extras?
Well, this
or are
is
these
the
just
show.
commercials?
We can't. In other words, one of the
Wait a minute,
agreements
so you're-
that you make with the Rose Bowl is you're not going to impede other people getting to their show. They had to sign a waiver to come onto the premises of the Rose Bowl.
All the fans you're talking about.
Every single fan who came in there had to be told that they were being filmed.
So you're saying that that's not extras; those are actual fans.
Well, of course.
Yeah, and so
the
we
Mighty
can't
Pepper
control-
was a couple
that
of
was
lead
really
people.
moments as they're starting to play. And if you remember, guys, I sent you the tape, Pete. If you about the warm up there, and how in terms of because that was done by Graying and Balding, the fade.
Yes.
Not fade away. Because
Yes.
they had done the concert in New Jersey, which is why they worked in LA.
Yes.
But anyway, so we took it from them, and the song is phenomenal. I mean, it just
the drum beat itself. It's just like the perfect. It's the perfect song for them to be running into the show.
And
with.
I was doing the math, and it was like Mick was like 51, not 81. But look at that vitality too.
Chuck, I mean, people were saying then that that's the last tour. How long can these guys go?
Oh,
on?
I felt that, of course. You know.
All right, here's another take. This take 3.
It's funny. I just watched this, and I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Really, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we have the two.
Oh, is that it, or is there one more?
There's one more. There's one more.
That's closer to it.
I'm thinking the same thing, but anyway, but let's see.
I mean, they'll cut it. They would cut it. We edit into it, so you just wouldn't
Right.
have a moment before we see them on the frame. Yeah, they
It's this one.
if they're a little bit faster.
If you could, it depends how much where they start the master, but I think I would use 4.
You would use 4. Larry, what would you have used?
3 or 4.
I actually like 3 better. I think there's a little bit more.
I'm going to go with 3 as well.
Really? Okay, that's all very interesting. Let's see. I did pull the clip.
Now, also, is there 2 shots? Were we that cutting edge in 1994 that we would do a quick cut here, quick cut up, or not really?
I'm not quite sure. I don't remember how it lays out finally.
Okay.
I mean, the music is going. It's just so good.
Well, hold on. Fuck. It's not.
It's never. In. Everything's good, baby. Everything's good. Nets are in the NLCS.
Oh my
Braves
god!
and the Phillies.
So embarrassing.
Phillies have stopped playing.
I'm like literally looking at it. You know what I mean? And I don't see. I pulled these clips for sure. Anyway, the answer was 4.
Oh,
Okay,
well.
good. Check
Hey,
was a big winner.
editing room maven. Editing room maven.
I was kind of impressed with it because I was just like, how did you it was almost like your memories of the editing room came back to you.
No, that was just a, Larry, my thinking was that was 3 was a well composed. 1 was fake. 2, they got lost. 3, they
It was good.
was
They got
a
a
good
safety. That's
shot.
what I thought.
But this one, it's because the early guys in the static shot had urgency. There was more urgency from the extras.
Yeah,
They did a little acting and also gave more room for these guys to be running just that much faster.
I would say those probably were extras there. We probably did bring in some extras.
I think they were extras too.
Well, the more I looked at it, I felt like it just felt that that's what was happening.
But where they get to the front,
go back and do it again. You're not going to ask the audience to go back.
Where they and then they come out this way, and they shot up here. They were on the area, and so when they came through the tunnel, they were shooting down.
I wonder if, and then I don't know. I wonder if the first grouping was actual people, and then because if you go back, we don't have to do this now, but if you go back and look, all of the people that walked in the first time were not there.
It might have been a mix. Yeah,
it could have been a mix.
I agree with Larry. I think 3 and 4 had the same groups, and then maybe 1 and 2 were different people. I'm pretty 3 and 4 definitely had the same group of people, and it looks like they hit a queue when they start running.
Okay, let's see what we have here.
Of course, it's the best way to see the show.
More Donna and Ray, as you said, they're really the only.
There's a little strut there, and she shows the.
Is that in the episode, Brian? Do you think?
I don't think so. I think that was cut out.
Yeah.
That important.
Well, you had the
establishing shot.
I know. I think that I don't know if it was that shot, but I do think
that's what I meant. I don't think it was
a bit of information that we did get across that you're here and this is the cool way to get into the show. I don't know if we did it another place as well. I have to look at it, but the bit of information was we set you would want to just think of it in the terms of writing, especially of television writing of that era and this kind of show. You would set up that that they were going for a reason, and he had a kind of a secret that he knew how to deal, even if he didn't have the money.
Right.
And this was it, and so it was kind of a working class coolness,
Yes, yeah. Here's some iron stuff.
Yeah,
it was.
Karl Marx.
Screw ya. Why are you wearing a ridiculous getup?
I'm selling programs. Want one?
No, I need a ticket. My wallet got jacked. It was this hippie dude. He stole my credit cards, my cash, everything. I've got to... Let's go again. Why are you wearing a ridiculous getup?
I'm selling programs. Want one?
No, I want to get in. I need a ticket. Some hippie dude jacked my wallet. He stole my cash, my credit cards, my ID, everything. I've got a major business meeting backstage. I need to get in.
Donna, you all right?
Yeah, I am, but Steve's not. You remember my friend Steve, right?
Yeah, sure. Keg House.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can get Steve in?
Into the show? Sure.
Oh, you know what? $100, I could probably scalp a great ticket out here, man. I'd really appreciate that.
Hey, man, you don't need to pay. I can get you in for free. What size are you?
What size am I? Is that a little personal?
That line doesn't make it in.
A marker.
That was Steve's improv line.
Yeah, some of his improvs were better than others, apparently, but that one made it into the show.
But yeah, and then next thing we see,
so many of his did, Ian. You were really had that skill.
That was good.
Okay, but I feel like that definitely did not make it in because there's a part where, and he I just want to let you know, I'm not going to go through all of them, but he kept saying a variation of that line. He kept trying to get that in every take. And it must have annoyed someone somewhere because much later we get this.
Donna! 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 Out here!
This might be all his Donnas.
Donna!
It's like Stella.
I'm out here! Donna!
Keep going.
Donna! 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 Donna!
This is right before the previous
That's
scene.
great, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're calculating it. I see. Brian, let's see.
No, it's right before he calls her over, and that's when what's that ridiculous get up?
Well, you also had
just
so
pick up
many
for the
extras, And on the other was just a close up or a medium close. So you could be one and you didn't have to call your extras yet. You want to get the shots in before you put a horde of that against your mealtime.
Okay.
Pick up.
Where?
You're in, Tori.
So here, you don't need the same amount.
Now, if you'll notice, if you listen to Tori, they say this is a pickup. So every take that he did some variation of how big am I? What's my size? Why are you at? Every one of them was worse.
Marker. So just pick up for the end.
Mark.
Okay.
Pick up.
Where?
You're in, Tori. And
Background.
action.
Oh, $100 and I could probably scalp a great ticket.
You don't need to pay, man. I'll get you in for free. What size are you?
Why do you want to know my size?
That's, I think, what makes it into the episode.
It does?
Probably.
Or maybe just the face.
Yeah, because we cut back to Jamie. Don't forget, we're probably
No, there is that as well, but I'm not.
We're editing back and forth there because we have coverage on them also.
I don't think I got to tell you, without knowing it, you're saying it cuts back. I mean, maybe it does. Of course, it was this, but that was really, as I say, it wasn't like people weren't really concentrating on the acting, so it was a little muggy. And I'm not sure that at that point we would go out on that before that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't. I would try to tell the editor, let's find an alternative to that.
The joke is that what size are you? And then Steve gives an expression. You cut right to he's in a vendor uniform. Right?
It's not a penis size joke, which is what Ian keeps trying to make it.
Yes,
you know the joke.
You know what? I always told them I was making a TV show that was PG. Thank you very much, guys. No penis jokes in this one.
It takes away from the plot point that he's going to just wear a shirt and get into the concert.
Yeah.
So he was in business, as they say in wrestling. He went into business for himself, right?
Yeah. I would say that.
Yeah,
that's why it probably didn't get in. I don't remember how it cut,
but he said it every take until finally someone must have said you're going to have to do a take without it.
Oh.
Okay, I got to talk to Kathleen. We watched a clip together. This is another 6 minutes. I got to talk to her about what she thought about this and all of that. So it's another one, a little bit of a longer conversation.
Okay. Yankees are winning.
It's not going to.
David Semmel directing. Okay.
Okay. Do you remember that David Semmel directed the Stones episode, or is that
I did not remember that.
Is it impossible for you to remember what happened on 90210 because you guys did so many episodes at a time where it was like all blurred together, or do you think you just blanked it all out?
No, I mean I have memories. I have very vivid memories of some things, but as you know, I've told you before, I have a bit of a there's certain things I don't remember. And I think it's probably because I've been acting since I was 10.
No doubt.
That I have, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Let's watch these.
Okay, let's watch them.
And
Background.
action.
What do you mean his pager's off? He lives for his pager. Claire, where are you going?
A cab stand comes to mind. Good night. I'm going home.
Claire, the tickets are coming.
Like I care anymore. I'm cold. I'm cranky. God, I wish we never even come, you know?
What did you think of your delivery on all that?
Horrible. Like brutal. Like it's hard to watch.
Okay, that's ridiculous because I love it. You didn't love you.
So, do you know how I feel when I watch it?
What?
It's so sweet. Like I look at her and I think she's so sweet.
Good. She is so sweet.
But she's so not in her body and comfortable and I mean
I didn't get remember that story I told you about how you
so pushed.
Okay. Do you remember that story before when I told you that you overtook the whole Rolling Stones, like my favorite band, and because I was okay. I didn't get that at all. So
Well, that's amazing. And I'm sure, yeah, it's just very funny to watch that. I'm so.
what is it like to see some of this stuff
It's
for you?
very strange. It's very strange. And I viscerally can remember specificity of the coat. Like that black leather jacket that I'm wearing was mine.
I love the black leather jacket.
And I bought that at like a thrift store in Canada.
Do you still have it?
Toronto. I don't have it anymore.
Sad.
I know. I had it for years and I used to put little stickers on it and it was very cool. Anyway, but like when I look at that, I remember that jacket. I can remember the way it smelled. And I remember being really like I just remember being like I was so young and I just remember being kind of nervous, like not in my body. That's the only thing I can say that like I just remember like some of those lines, like feeling the need to hit them and feeling that need to be like,
okay, like
I'm this.
I'm cold and cranky.
Like
yeah.
it just feels so like, you know, like it's so not what I would do now.
I understand that, but I
had no acting training at that point. So when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that was before I trained with Larry Moss. That was before I went actually went. I mean, I had already been on multiple series and done hundreds of episodes of television. But when I look at it, I just go, oh,
okay,
like it makes me just feel like for her.
No, but I just feel like I understand what you're saying about how you feel about that, but like people love this. I'm not just talking about me right now, like specifically. I'm talking about the people that love the Claire Arnold character. I think that they love that she made sure she hit all those things. Like, I think that they love to know that she was cold and she was cranky and letting David know that in those takes.
Yeah. No, and I love that people love it. Like, and I do. I think I did a funny I had a meeting recently at Netflix with an executive there about something on the writing side, and we met over Zoom, and he started the Zoom by basically saying like, oh, when I saw that this was a Zoom and not in person, I was really bummed because I really wanted to meet you in person. And he was like, oh, you know, I loved you in all the Greg Araki movies and blah, blah. And he was like a fan, but he's like, but you know, Claire was sort of for me like important, and he explained why, and it was sort of similar to some of the stuff that you have said. And
I mean, like the thing for me is
was kind of like not like anybody else.
Well, I've told you,
and so
can I share that with you?
That means something to me. Yeah.
What I've said to you is that what I loved about Claire, the character, is that she was not like everybody else in the cast. And I was somebody that did not feel necessarily like I would identify or be friends with anybody in the cast when I watched that show. And then here comes this girl that like is like me, is a little judgy about the Stones, but then warms up to them inevitably. You know what I mean? Like, here comes this person that is not afraid to wear a leather jacket or boots or change her hair like 10 times in one episode. like this is someone that I mean, I used to do weird things like that, change my hairstyles, and like I just felt very close to her. And I think for somebody that grew up in the 90s and didn't, and you know, you could feel very alone being a person like that.
Yeah.
And to see someone like that on television and for it to be executed so wonderfully, because you are probably that person, right?
Yeah, I am that person. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a lot deeper.
It's sweet. It's very sweet. And it, as I've told you before, like, I think it's just taken me a very long time to get to the place where I'm at now with it.
Good.
Where I'm appreciative of it. I get it. And I'm like totally open to talking about it now in a way that I wasn't for years.
That's good.
Yeah. Because I do really feel now that I get it. I get it.
That was some Kathleen Robertson stuff.
Sex, drugs, and really decent literature.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. It's a lot of this kind of
Oh, that was very interesting. And yes, it was whether it was in her own body or not is immaterial. You know, what was there is that she was that cranky in this, and I think that was the first. Also, it seemed to me, Larry, it was almost like somebody, is in terms of the character, it's like, and the way that she delivered it was cute in the way that, at least what I'm interpreting it to be, is kind of like, oh shit, I'm getting older too, aren't I? You know, I mean, this is getting worse. You know, like here I am like this. I mean, she's almost surrendering to being, you know, a cranky bitch at that moment because she had been above that kind of suffering, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was good. She was like an overeducated goth girl, you know.
Yeah.
Nice
Well, Melissa says that Claire was as punk as they got on 90210, and I think that's.
Oh yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah. I think.
Well, she just got in because she could really play humor. I mean, I think you've probably talked about that with her, Pete. That I don't know if she did an improv comedy group up there in Canada, and probably did.
Well, she was on that Maniac. She was on Maniac Mansion, which had so many different comedy people that came through that. So for sure, she was around that. I've always said that Kathleen's the funniest person I know. Like I've gotten to talk to her and stuff, and she just, I just, yeah, like exactly what you're saying.
Well, she was she's very funny. And I remember that in that part, and also being that cute and that funny.
Yeah,
such a rare combination. It's like. You know, like anybody, where have you been? You know,
look, that storyline where the chancellor asked Brandon to take his daughter to the prom was just a great entrance. Just great, you know. And he's got the wild. We always consider her the wild child, and she kind of just leaped at it. You know, she had the right.
And at her first days, we're filming in the Scientology Center, for God's sake. You know, that was Paul's strangest choice, but that's where we ended up filming.
I hope one day that she talks about her first days on set because they're really interesting. Bryan, do you have any questions from Reddit about this episode?
I don't have any questions, but I do have some words of gratitude for Larry.
Okay.
User a media archivist says, "I wanted to thank Larry for taking the time to find more dailies for us fans."
Oh. Well, that's only because he's moving that he stumbled upon it.
He just threw out a bunch of shit. And we have to look at this. Oh, here's some more shit. Oh no, it's dailies. You know, he didn't have any.
He didn't go dumpster diving. You know what I mean? He wasn't. Yeah. Okay.
Well, in other words, he stumbled onto this. He kind of. Here's the dailies.
You didn't find any dailies, Chuck. You found a couple of little things here and there, but I bet you have somewhere
a little something here and there. Pete, start buttering me up. You know, we're going to be out of this room eventually, and I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 scrapbooks full of 90210 stuff.
Great.
Kept by my wife's assistant at the time. You remember? I'm blanking on her name.
She was in the show. She was in the show.
She was the hippie with the joint at the 60s episode.
Very cool. Well, go ahead, Bryan. Did you have anything else, or?
Oh, well, he goes on to say the rare finds and archives shared by producers are what really make the 90210 Show podcast special, as they shed a lot of light on what makes Beverly Hills 90210 an amazing show.
Oh, terrific. I mean, I like because you get to see the process of the actors a little bit. You know, you get to see how. I remember, you know, the Luke one was fantastic. Hopefully, you got some good stuff coming up here. What do you got, Pete?
Oh, well, not so much for this episode because we did show in the previous episode all of that other stuff of Luke and all those things.
Where was that stuff with Claire? Was there more stuff with Bryan and David and Claire?
There was a limo. Here, there's this. I was going to just add that next week we're going to cover more season 6 and 7 dailies, and someone wrote dying for some more Val scenes. It's loaded with Val. I have a good amount of Val 6 and 7 stuff next week. So
that's Tiffany content for me is a treat.
You should send that stuff to Tiffany and see if she responds.
I don't think she cares, but I will
send it to her.
Yeah.
From the appreciative fans or looking at your work or whatever.
Yeah. I love this stuff because it's like you said, it's the process of it. And I had a question, Larry, and for both of you. And watching Ian's takes, and I mean this in the, I love Steve Sanders to character. but he always kind of starts really up. You know what I mean? He's at a level that is an exaggerated version of Steve.
That's
Sandberg.
what he thinks Steve is. That's his.
And then the takes come down.
And then he gets brought back down. But you have to remember something too. That comes very naturally to Ian, because he's a stage actor.
Right.
Stage actors play everything bigger. I remember when we saw someone was talking about right now on Broadway that Sunset Boulevard is having a big revival and is a very hot ticket right now in New York. And the fact is that I saw that show in the Schubert and loved the lead, and had her come in to read, and she was just all this and all arms, and that wasn't going to work, and she didn't get the part.
Yeah.
The actor Tim Curry told me that every time he's ever been on a film, the first note he gets is to bring it back down. Take it down. Yeah.
Right, because it's such an intimate. It can be such an intimate thing,
Yeah, but he always does get to it. So here is one other thing.
Oh, that looks like someone was the hat. Oh, we're gotta go out here.
No. Lose the book. You're embarrassing me.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead time at concerts. I'm gonna make the most of it. Kelly!
Oh.
Hi, I didn't know you guys were coming.
David's father invited us, so we thought we'd come down and check out what the Stones hype was all about.
I thought we came here to rag on everything.
Well, that's it. Where is Mel? I'd love to say hello.
Well, we were supposed to meet him at the main gate, but I guess he's running a little late, so we're gonna go over to Will Call and then swing back through.
Same old Mel. Happy hunting.
See you guys inside, if you can get backstage.
I get the impression from what Kelly said, your father may not.
I love this stuff.
It's a good master. It's a good master.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts, and when we look at some stuff from season 6 and 7 next week, I'd love that some of the directors would take a chance at doing multiple things. Someone like in this, it's they're coming out of the limo, they're walking across, the characters.
That's the time.
There's a lot of things.
That's the time also.
Pete.
I understand, but but sometimes it's a one. And some of the episodes we'll look at, there's like they try to get it all in one take, which is
Well, that's because you can then cut back to and from stuff.
Hopefully, unless you run out of light.
That's where you cut in. You use the wide to go back to the wide together. There was a whole bunch of theories on it, but no, David was the perfect director onto it. And what I really look at those 4 guys together, Larry, those 4 successful people, all some kind tangentially connected to show business. Not really literally Donna, but Donna's a spelling, and the thin line, they're looking at her. You have all these people who are successful, and then as you talk about, as the years went on, they made them all struggling when what the audience lost at that point was the nature of its Beverly Hills 90210. And that's why it really should have ended in the 7th year with College.
Totally.
And Aaron, kept it going for a couple of years, but it was 2 separate things.
And to that point, would Donna in season 9 and 10 go see the Rolling Stones and be a ticket taker? You know what I mean? Like,
you mean have fun?
Exactly, have fun. But like, it's fun to see Donna Martin, this character of wealth and the family that she comes from, meeting this blue collar kid and working concessions. Like, this is something Donna Martin.
That's what we thought. That's what we thought.
That's
in season 9 and 10. In season 9 and
world, Donna Martin in a blue collar world. It always
in season 9 and 10. Donna Martin was the blue collar. Was in the blue collar.
It was. You know what it was. Oh, I can't even say it. I can't be this nasty. I'm not saying it. It was there.
But okay, so that is the gist of the best of the extra Rolling Stone stuff. So we have that now done.
Nice.
Bryan, is there anything else that you would like to mention? Is there any question that you have about the Stones episode, since you have never had a chance to talk about it?
The Stones episode, I mean, no, I mean, I think we covered all bases. I was, curious about how you guys navigated the whole actually shooting at, the actual concert, and having to navigate through all that. But I mean, I think you guys pretty much got it all down.
It was, I think, Chuck, you've said that. Well, the biggest key element was that they had show footage that they were able to secure
that we could match into. So we could make it be bigger than our involvement seemed bigger than it was. David's crew on the day that on the stuff that he was filming, on the night of the show, was basically the kind of thing you'd associate with a porta pack. It was really very little. It was very small footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, we should not lose sight of the fact that we also were shooting the Up in Flames episode
at the same time.
There's a whole.
Catherine West says, Renee, tell Robin to get Tiff on the show. Haha. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Robin is, but definitely tell her.
Well, Renee must know. Renee must
Who's
know
Robin?
when Renee's going to help Pete or not.
Yeah, get on it.
Come
Renee.
on, Renee.
All right, guys. This has been great. I'm going to go pop champagne and celebrate with the
I hope so. Chuck's got his agony coming up.
No, Chuck is not going to be agony. Chuck, you are going to.
It's agony all the way through, even when you're winning.
Here's what I was texting with my Dodger fans, and here's what we like. We like that Chris Taylor is in the lineup, and so is Kiki Hernandez. Guys who have been there and had big hits in the past. And if there's any justice in the world, they get one more shot, because if they fuck up and we don't win, I don't think they'll be Dodgers next year.
Yeah, or Dave Roberts.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I think the Dodgers have.
Let me just say on the one play, I think I've said it to you. If there's any baseball people, it's really clear that Freddie Freeman not getting the sure out changed that from a two-run inning to a 6-run inning. It was a really the worst play I've seen a Major League Baseball player do in ages, given on the stakes of the game.
I want to add, Chuck, you did tell me, a very wise person told me that if any team can come back, it's the Dodgers. So there's a good chance. There's a good chance that tonight things are going to turn around and you're going to end up having the Padres back.
Is in 5 minutes. So
okay, and that's been great.
Wrapping it up.
Yeah, that's been great.
Bye, guys.
See everybody next week for season 6 and 7 dailies.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And Pete, one thing.